Hello, everyone. Welcome to That One Thing, Episode 3, Three Secrets of Resilient People. I'm Karina. It is nice to have you on with us today. This podcast is brought to you by RMK Productions Network, 10 Untitled Podcast Network, and RMK Productions TV. Through the power of story, our mission is to uplift through voice, inspire, share stories and experience, using the framework of teaching, learning, and modeling. Our purpose is hope, helping people every day. So, guys, I hope we were having a great day today. We actually have a special guest with us, Christian Matson. He's coming into us today from St. Joe's University, Division I athlete, men's soccer goalie. And I'm actually going to hand it over to him, let you guys learn a little bit more about him before we get into our topic today.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It's great to be here. I'm looking forward to it. We're going to be talking about some things about resilient people and how we're getting onto that. So
Absolutely.
I think you just want to kick it off with
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. So, all right, resilient people. You guys, you probably know some resilient people in your life. You maybe think your parents, grandparents. I know for me, both my grandparents, well, on my dad's side, are actually immigrants. They came over from Italy. So definitely resilience there. I don't know about you, Christian. How about you? Do you have any family members coming from across seas or anything like that?
I mean, my family moved here a long, long time ago, but
Yeah.
the resiliency side both comes from my parents, I'd say.
Absolutely.
My father being ex-military and, kind of using that into his everyday life,
Absolutely.
along with, dealing with injuries and people every day on the job now he's in business and being successful there. And then my mom just in the everyday life, she has to battle through whatever comes at her way.
And being a mother, especially,
That
for certain is in and of itself resiliency. So I wanted to point out to something you just said there, some military and also injuries. So college athlete, you're gonna have injuries, you're gonna have setbacks, right? You got, pull a hamstring, something like that. You can't walk up steps some days. We literally took the elevator up here, to be honest with you, because it is so demanding on your body. But what we have to understand is, and this is going to be our first point of our thing. So we're going to have 3 secrets to resilient people from 2 college athletes. We're going to let you in on a few secrets that we have. So first one, they get that shit happens. Okay. I apologize for cursing, but I think this is pretty important, so I'm going to say it anyway. They get that shit happens. So they know suffering is a part of human life. Yeah. And Christian, if you have anything to put on this, please do, because you're going to have setbacks, especially being a freshman on the college team. You're going to have setbacks in the classroom. You're going to have anything. But how we deal with them is most important. So if you want to take that.
Listen, I don't know about for you, but throughout my life, I've had injury setbacks where I've been out for a year. I've had setbacks in school where, you get that bad grade. I've had setbacks in life with family around me passing away. It's just about how you take it. It's about your outlook and then what you do next. And I think those are the 2 most important things that you have to really look at it. There's going to be things that happen in life, as we're saying, and it's not going to change. You can't change that. It's about what you do with what you can control.
Right.
With an injury. Okay, so what? You get injured. Right. It happens. Right. What's your next step? Exactly. Do you take the rest time, then do your rehab, and then come back from that? And then you come back stronger, and then you can rebuild your base, and then you can kind of keep pushing and pushing and pushing while still taking care of yourself. When, somebody in your family passes away, although it's very sad and for a long time, the grief can take over.
Absolutely.
It's about working back every single day to regain that part of yourself, and then just, keeping their memory alive, and then making sure that, you're still becoming the best version of yourself. And then if you just look at it on the school side of things, every day, you're bound to have one bad grade throughout life.
Yeah. Geez, yeah. You know what? Like we almost live in a sense of entitlement when we're young, and it's like we deserve happiness, which we all do. But it's almost like we expect it. It's almost like we expect, like, we're never going to get hurt, like we're never going to get a bad grade. And that almost seems to fail us. That almost seems to be like the Achilles heel in a sense. You know what I mean? Like coming into college, coming from high school, I thought I was so ready, prepared, let's go. And right now I'm getting my butt kicked, So like it's a lot of work, and you just got to almost think about the worst thing that could happen and then work off of that. You know what I mean?
Physically, I'm right there with you. Every single day is a struggle with that. But kind of coming in from a place where I've had a much different experience from you. Absolutely. I've kind of had to be mature a lot earlier in life, for a whole load of reasons. But, that kind of forces you to grow up very quickly and forces you to just see the world for what it is. So, I kind of understood that suffering is going to be a part of what's going to happen. And the same thing that I tell my girlfriend every day. She's like, I don't like to see you in pain. I'm like, it's just going to be what it's going to be.
It is going to be, but it's also how you deal with that pain that
Yeah.
actually makes it like almost unrecognizable.
Listen, you're going to be dealing with this stuff for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And your kids are going to be dealing with theirs, and your parents dealt with it for theirs.
Exactly.
But did that stop them from getting a nice life or enjoying life? You're always going to enjoy life. It depends how you look at it and what you do with it. And I think that's really what we're looking at here.
Absolutely. And you know what? Just being from a different background, I know you pointed that out right now, is do you want to tell them where you've been? Because you've been all over the place. And that is pretty impressive. I got to be honest. You, Spain, I mean, that is incredible,
Yeah, so I was born in New Jersey, in a small town near Princeton, New Jersey. So, for all of you non-believers out there actually is a Central Jersey. And then I moved from there to Germany when I was pretty young due to my dad's work. And then, I spent about 3 years there, and then I came back to New Jersey. And for the next, 10 years, I was in New Jersey. That's awesome. And, I was still playing sports. I was still doing everything that I was doing. And then I had a big break through soccer to go back overseas to play again. And, I joined up with this professional team over in Spain, as she was saying. And, everything was going well. I started off with my age group, moved up an age group, and then moved up to one of the pro sides. And, it was going the right way. And then here's, the secrecy of stuff happens. I got injured. I got injured. So I fractured my ankle in 3 places. And then, I ended up missing something that should have taken 3 months. I missed 9, and then that 9 became a whole year.
So walk me through that. Now, when you, I guess, was it in a game when you?
I actually did it in training, which makes it even worse. Geez.
So walk me through, like, when it first happened, what was your initial thought?
Well, you're going to yell at me if I tell you that one. So I was doing something I'd done 1,000 times in terms of saving a ball, and my foot just kind of got caught in the turf, and I just felt a little crack. And, being in a certain mentality, you just kind of get up and you get on with it. So I finished out the entirety of that training. It's
badass, I gotta be honest, yeah.
It was another 45 minutes, and I finished up, and I was still running and doing everything and just kind of putting it out of my mind. And then, the adrenaline wears off, and I kind of just go to put weight on it, and bam, you feel it. You feel it.
Yeah.
And so, the problem was that they didn't realize there was a fracture immediately because I had a couple of smaller fractures, and then that ended up growing eventually because I still had mobility within the ankle.
Right.
Because for whatever reason, my joints tend to be a little bit looser. My shoulder joints are a little bit more like not double jointed, but looser in that sense. My knees similar way, ankles similar way up to this point. And, they looked at it. They were like, oh, you still have a lot of mobility, a month. So I did rehab for a month, came back, couldn't kick the ball. Like I would try, just immediately just exploded in pain. Went and got an MRI when I should have probably done that in the first place. And then, that put me out for 3 months. Okay, let's say.
So now that's almost 4 months out.
We're looking at 4 months out here, on crutches for those 3 months.
Wow.
Throughout like the entirety of that Christmas time. Like
happy time. You're not happy.
Right? Yeah.
But yeah, and that is and exactly what we're going with this is like, what was your mind? Like, did you think that you were going to be back on the field no problem, or did you think this could affect my career going forward?
At the beginning, I thought no problem, like I'll be back.
Right.
But then you kept getting setback after setback. I wasn't cleared. 4 months turned into 6 months. 6 months turned into 8. 8 turned into 9. Right. And then you deal with everything else that's going on in life, being in a new culture, in a new environment, a new country. At 16 years old, that all kind of got to me.
That is a lot. That is so much.
And, I made the decision to move back home, to be with my family, to be in familiar surroundings when, because let's say I would do this now, I would have known to stick it out and kind of look at it from that point and know that I'd be fine and know that I'd be fine in the long run and get to that point. But as a 16-year-old, you don't know that.
No, you don't.
No.
And that, honestly, that is why, I hope there's some 16-year-olds out there that are listening to this, because it's like, yes, I also broke my ankle around that time. I was 15, but you don't look at it the same. Like it almost is like, I'm never going to play again. And it's really not that bad. You just got to look at the positives.
That moment, it's like, how does this affect me now? Because you're looking at college. You're looking at,
and at that age,
at my case, aspiring for a professional contract.
Right.
When I was 1 year, literally 1 year away from getting a professional contract. That's crazy. And it was basically set, match, and on the table at that point. to leaving that realm behind,
Mhm.
stepping back into the U.S., going into the U.S. during a time where 6 months later COVID hits,
Yes. Oh my
and
gosh, it was that
yeah,
too. Wow.
and then you go from there, take the time off for COVID, and then move to Minnesota, and then to St. Joe's. It was a
That's some
wild,
resiliency, ladies and
that next
gentlemen.
2 years after that
Oh
was a
my
wild
god.
ride.
But I gotta be honest with you. Did you feel like, so you broke it in Spain?
I broke it in Spain.
Now, when
Or
you were
fractured it, but
sitting
yeah.
and you weren't playing or whatever, what was like, did you take in your surroundings? Did you appreciate the culture more? Like, how did you make up for? And this is what I want everybody to kind of think about. Like, if you're an injured athlete right now, if you have something that prevents you from doing something else, how do you almost balance or justify what's happened? You know what I mean? Like, did you take anything else up hobby wise or anything like that?
One thing that I found out that I'd been injured many times in my life before in the U.S., and one thing that I found out that Spanish people didn't do, at least at the club where I was at, when you were injured, they didn't necessarily come to training every day.
Oh,
I
wow.
was still there every day. I'd watch. I'd join in with my teammates. I didn't miss things. And the longer it went on, the harder it got to go to every single day. But I was there for every single match. I was there for every single big thing. Like, I made it important to me that my team was still my team.
Right.
Like, these are the guys that I came to be with. I learned Spanish from them.
I was gonna say, you
spent
probably
time with them.
yeah.
They had barbecues on the weekend that I would go to. Like,
That's pretty cool.
they not only included me like I was family, but they included my mom and my sister who came with me.
That's awesome.
And for people who didn't really speak Spanish, now I do. But
Yeah.
for my mom and my sister, they still don't speak it. They included them, no problem. They made it a way to figure out how to work with them,
Right.
and how to help us and guide us through this.
That's incredible. I mean, that like it amazes me almost what something so bad like an injury or something so disheartening like a loss or anything like that, how you can turn that and flip that into something good. Like, hey,
Yeah.
I broke my ankle, but I got to meet these people and meet them well enough that I have a personal relationship with them now. That is just
still thinking about it. I was talking to a couple of my friends there 3 days ago, 4
Yeah.
days ago. We were just catching up.
Yeah.
One of them was texting me about some stuff about how to speak in English, and
that's
I get to practice my Spanish, but like they're trying to learn it.
yeah,
Before that they didn't know English. Now they know English enough to be able to speak.
that's incredible.
Like it was
That's
like
awesome.
a pro bono. Like, I teach you, you teach me, and then But back to what you're saying,
Yeah.
I got to experience the culture. So I would
That's
go to. And my family's on the religious side. We're all Catholic. I would go to Catholic church.
Awesome.
I got to live in one of the most beautiful places I could think of in the world, right on the coast of Spain, an hour south of Valencia. Beautiful
living
weather.
the life. I mean,
all year
broken
round.
ankle. Why? I mean, that's
Yeah.
like wow.
I got to see a different side of culture and the world.
Absolutely.
Different than Germany, different than New Jersey, different than Pennsylvania, different than Minnesota. It's
just
so
different.
unique in itself.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I got to understand that. I went to a different type of school system. I met a lot of people through there. Like, I made a lot of relationships. I saw a lot of things that just kind of built me into the person that I am today.
And that is a beautiful thing. I mean, when you put your attention to something that is so, you like learning Spanish, for example. I'm in Spanish right now. Wouldn't say it's my greatest subject, but I would say you probably excel in it very well. But people are good at choosing where they want to put their attention. And this is what I'm going to get into next. Our second point is resilient people are good at choosing where to put their attention. So we're hardwired almost to think about the negative aspects. Oh, we're running today. Oh, we're doing suicides today. It's a negative outlook on things. We don't always look for the optimistic side, and that as humans we're just geared that way. I mean, I can say for myself even it's been hard to be optimistic when it's a rainy Monday morning and you're running on turf. You know what I mean? So
100%.
I mean, I guess
that Monday morning after
yeah.
the day of studying, and then you got 3 tests, and they're making you run for 2 hours, and you have to lift.
That's
and
it.
Then go
That's
to
the
your test.
lifestyle.
Yeah.
That's the collegiate lifestyle, and it's like, how do you turn the negative, like you said, that broken ankle, but how do you turn that into, hey, I'm on vacation right now. Hey, I'm getting my family with my friends, and now they're learning Spanish together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think the best time of it came during COVID for me.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of just got a point where, school went online, but it was still adapting to being online.
Mm-hmm.
So that wasn't really a concern for most people. Like, you could go in, just kind of do your classes, and then get out. It was very simple. But it was a time for my family to spend together and just, kind of learn about each other. And like, you kind of just hunkered down. So everybody would get on everybody's nerves. But it was also 100%.
Oh my god, the
But
amount of Netflix we watched. I'm sorry, keep going.
Oh yeah, no. Netflix is great. I mean, the amount of shows I'm watching right now. I just finished
Literally.
before I came here, so
Oh my god,
that's why I pushed this so.
we'll give some Netflix recommendations at the end of this.
Okay, we could do that. But yeah, it kind of just let me kind of focus on what I wanted to focus on.
Yeah.
You know, I made a job out of it, and I'm not proud. Well, I'm proud to say it. I don't think the people that I talk about are proud to say it. But during COVID, it was a great time for me. I did homework for other people. I thought it was a way to make extra cash, and it was great.
Look at you! Listen, I respect any kind of hustle. I mean, that
I made $3 or $4 grand in a couple month period doing
that. See, like that, honestly.
Oh yeah.
You got to be scrappy, and like that's another thing. I'll just add this in. This isn't part of the resiliency, but being scrappy like that and just picking up little things, that gives you character. That builds your character. You know what I mean?
I think scrappy is just the character.
That is the character point.
Because,
absolutely.
If you're scrappy, it feeds into everything. You
Yeah.
You feed off that little piece.
Yep.
And then you make it a big piece.
Absolutely.
You know, I can say that for what's going on right now.
Yeah.
Every day I walk into training and I was kind of told that, hey, this is where you're going to be. This is where they are.
Right.
That's changed.
How you gonna be? Yeah.
That's changed. Every single day I've gone in there, I've put in my effort, and I've gotten to where I want to be, and I'm consistent with it. And I think a big piece with scrappy or making the best of where you're at or choosing where to put your attention, it's not always choosing about where to put your attention. It's about being consistent with that.
Yeah.
It's a consistency piece, and that's really what it is. And I think that's what people don't understand. You can do it. You can choose to put your attention on being a great cook, but is it going to make you a great cook?
No.
If you do it one time, no. If you do it 100 times, maybe. You might become a great cook.
Right.
I mean, I don't know about you, but
that's a good point. I like to cook. I mean, quarantine made me pick up cooking, but if you don't try to elevate, now a trainer of mine, in St. Joe's Strength and Conditioning, he told us you got to put on more weight every single week. You got to add that challenge. Because if you're just being stagnant with it, you know what I mean? Like, and you're just going through the motions again and again and again, like in the gym, doing the same routine, you're not stressing any muscle. And that goes mentally too. If you're not mentally straining yourself to learn a new subject, learn a new thing, you will, not find resiliency, but you also won't get any better, you know?
Yeah. I mean, your biggest tool that you have is your mind.
Right.
It is by 110%. And I love The Rock's quote in one of his movies. He goes, I can flex these, my biceps, which are already huge, but he also goes, I flex this.
Yeah.
And he's talking about flexing his mind.
Yeah.
Because if you're able to use your mind and use it as a muscle and use it as the way you might use your body, your potential is limitless. Because your body, I mean, it's good for a long time, but then over time it kind of just, You have to be smarter. It's why the professionals at the top level stay professionals for 20 years.
Yeah.
They are not the fastest. They are not the most physically powerful. They are not the most gifted players. There are always going to be somebody better than them at those things.
Right.
But what they are is they are smarter and they're faster up here, and they have that expertise and that experience to be at that level.
You're right.
And that's why they're day in, day out at the top of their level, and they haven't left.
Right.
I mean, I think the best example in all of sports is Cristiano Ronaldo. The man is 36 years old. 36 years old.
Could you imagine?
Top goal scorer in every possible competition.
He's still going.
Still going.
Yeah.
And he hasn't looked like he switched off a beat this year.
No.
And, I know you don't know soccer as much, but for me, that's my realm.
Any soccer fans out there, this is for you.
Listen, it's that type of professionalism. He's doing yoga. He has personal chefs for him. Like, he's obviously a very rich man, but he takes care of himself. He does after sessions. He eats the right way. He sleeps the right way. Puts all his focus into what he's doing, and that's his job. But it's also his passion.
Right.
And when you're finding both,
it's amazing. It just, you gotta want it. And when I say that, I mean, you gotta want the mental aspect, but you also gotta want the physical aspect. Physical, you can put your time in and most likely get a result out of it.
You will.
But mentally, you gotta be there as well. Because if you're not sharp mentally, you're never gonna get to the place where you think you can get.
Listen, if you're training 4 days a week, or you're in school 5 days a week, and I'm not saying you have to be 100% focused for every class, but if you do your best to do that 100% focus, or even better, if you can give 100% effort wherever you go, every piece of homework, every little thing, you're going to get something out of it. Because that's what your controllables.
Absolutely.
There are uncontrollables. The teacher might give you a bad grade.
Right.
You can't change that.
Right.
But you can change how you go at it the next time.
Right.
Your controllables. You might have a day where you're sick and you can't move. You can't change that. But what can you change? You can change how you take the medicine and what you do from there on.
Exactly.
You might have that injury, like we said. We both had it. It's how you go about it.
Right.
It's everything's
Choosing
a
where to put their
mindset and
attention.
using your mind and choosing exactly how and what you want to do with your attention.
Choosing where you want to put that attention, crucial. And our third step, this is going to be our last step here, is they ask themselves, if what I'm doing, is it helping or is it harming me? And when I say that, physically harming, you're working out too much, you're doing too much. That's a given, right? But let's take a step back and let's look at ourselves, on social media. What are we doing that's helping or harming me on social media? Friends, habits, hobbies. What I'm doing in the off season, what I'm doing after practice, is that helping me? Am I putting myself in the right friend group that makes me try harder? Because you want to always put yourself with people that are above you, so you reach to that capacity, because over time you will naturally. You're going to want to step up to them. Everybody has a little bit of competitiveness in them,
Yeah.
So I would like you guys to just take a minute, either pause this or slide out of it real quick. Think about to yourself 3 things: social media, friends, and habits. Is everything helping you in that scenario, or are some things harming you and harming your ability to produce on the field, produce in the classroom, anything?
I think the social media aspect is big.
Social media is huge.
Social media and friends go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Because social media, you have everything at your fingertips.
Yeah.
Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp.
Yeah.
I mean, limitless amount of tools.
TikTok. And it's, what it is?
It's addicting.
It's always out there, and people don't understand that. I mean, it is just, yes, you could be public, you could be private, right? But
whatever you post is out there.
Whatever you post is out there. So is that helping you when you post that stuff? Because if it's not, you might want to take a step back.
I don't know about you, but I've made my fair share of dumb comments, poor posts at times. But I mean, you kind of learn as you go along. Like this year, I got an NLI. For a lot of people that don't know what that is, NLI is a name, image, and likeness. Mm-hmm. As a college athlete, you're now allowed to market yourself and gain sponsorship and/or what they call money, but really based under sponsorship. Of your name, image, and likeness. Mm-hmm. So this year as a goalkeeper coming into college, I'm a freshman, I was able to gain a sponsorship for goalkeeping gloves. Now, my platform and what they require is, and they're very simple because they understand it. They're professional goalkeepers, they're college goalkeepers, they're guys who have seen it as coaches, seen it as players, seen it as mentors. Yeah. What they want you to do is hold a respectful platform. Right. So they want, first and foremost, they don't want anything rude or harming on your platform. Mm-hmm. Second, then they want you to promote them. Third, they want you to be loving the game and pushing yourself to become the best. Right. And it's a great motto to have. Yeah. And, the company's called Set GK because the basis of what we do as a goalkeeper is setting.
Would you like to, for any soccer players out there, would you like to put in your code right now? Do you know this?
I do. I am not going to do that because I don't need to push anybody.
No worries.
But it kind of goes hand in hand. And that's a big social media aspect.
Absolutely.
And something that I'm very appreciative of the guys over at Set GK for is they sent me a pair of free performance socks that they have. Okay. Because of the work that I've been doing, awesome. Promoting them and keeping a good image. And, there's so many opportunities. They value your schoolwork. They value how you do on the field. They value, who you are as a person. It's
the collective whole that gets people. And, you might be a straight up student, right? Straight up athlete, everything. But if your social media, if your online presence, now everybody's got something. If your online presence isn't what you think you are or isn't showing who you are, you might want to take a step back and reevaluate, because that's what resilient people do. Is this helping me or harming me? And if it's harming me, we're going to readjust. And it's okay if it's harming you. You know what? Honestly, I'd rather have more things that were harming me on my list, because that's where I know I need to improve. Yeah. If everything's helping me, all right, I take a step back, whatever. But I'd rather there be stuff that I need to work on so I can feel like I'm, almost leveling up in a sense.
So we sat down and did this, 2 nights ago when we were looking at our accounting.
That's a really good point, actually.
We both have the same accounting professor. We sat down and we pulled out things that we got wrong and we looked at it and we said, hey,
that's a great analogy.
Here's where we need to improve.
That's a great analogy, yeah.
And for the past couple of days, I think we've both been studying that. Yeah. And I don't know about you yet.
I don't know yet, but we both got great. I think we got great grades. Yeah, exactly. So,
yeah. But going back to it, yes. Your friend's kind of the same way.
Yeah.
For me, COVID and the year after was kind of my transition period to be like, hey, like, where are you at?
Mm-hmm.
I realized that,
That's
you know,
true.
I had a lot of people that I know,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of people that are acquaintances that I just was like, I talk to you, I don't really talk to you.
Yeah.
You don't do anything in my life. You don't harm it, but you don't necessarily do anything to
You're
it.
not in that circle.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna push you to the side.
Right.
I have my good group of friends now that I talk to on the regular, that I care about.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if they do something that harms me, so be it. I talk with them, we work it out. But for the most part, you know, they influence me to be better.
Right.
And the main part of it is helping.
Right.
You know,
And there's
I'm with you, and
yeah.
we're doing this, and this is fun.
This is
But,
great.
like,
This is great.
this is not only for me. This is also for you
Exactly.
to keep pushing for what you want to be.
Exactly.
And I'm
And
glad
that
we're
is the
helping
thing.
with
Like
that.
you challenge me. I mean, just as a friend here, Christian challenges me, right? My friends at home challenge me. You know, even my brother, I have a twin brother. My brother challenges me, right? And you want to be in an atmosphere where you're not the best one in the group. There is a saying out there that actually says, you know, try not to be the best one in the group. I don't know what the quote is, but you want to be in an environment where it's like, holy God, I gotta one up these guys. I gotta be at their level, because it'll push you to do stuff you probably wouldn't do on your own.
I might not agree with that one.
Why?
I think because of this. If you're the best one in the group,
yeah,
and you have people around you,
you want to keep up.
You do want to keep up, but
Yeah.
what happens if, you know, you're lacking behind and they're becoming better?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not saying that you're not going to be better.
It'll motivate you to.
Let's say you're better,
Mm-hmm.
and you see them catching, and you want to keep doing better
Mm-hmm.
for yourself. It's like an internal hunger.
True.
You have to stay hungry
True.
for what you want. And
True.
being the best is kind of like what epitomizes that. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
for me, I am a very, very, very competitive person.
I get
competitive.
I get a test.
You know, whatever it might be, I could be terrible at it.
Yeah.
And I will still go out there with 100% confidence that I will be the best at it.
Yes.
I could be the worst person on the field.
I agree.
I could be the worst person in the classroom. But I'm going to do it like I'm the best. And I'm going to, you know, have that hunger to do it.
Yeah.
Because, you know, for me, it's an internal hunger.
Right.
But my friends have the same thing. The ones that I choose to be around all the time,
they got to have that same energy.
They have to have that energy where they want to constantly improve.
I agree.
Whatever it might be on. They might not have the same hunger for me.
Right.
You know, that's a hunger that not everybody has. But what they have to have is that mindset where they want to become a better version of themselves every day.
That's a better way. I like that mindset as well. I mean, there's two ways to go about it, right? But, you know, ultimately you want to be with people around the same energy. You know, they don't have to be up to your standards, but you want to be around people that want to do well in school, that want to do well in the field, you know, and just have that environment. A healthy environment will create a healthy lifestyle. And lastly, habits.
I want to touch on that thing right before we go on.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, absolutely.
Kobe had this great not podcast, but like speech that he gave.
Yes.
He goes, you know, he was like doing this thing with this guy, and he goes, "So you want to recruit me? How'd you get me on your team?" That's what the guy asked Kobe. Kobe goes, "Do you want to win? Join my team. If you want to lose, go somewhere else."
Love it.
So simple. But then he goes on later, and it's a 10-minute thing, and he's talking, and you know, he goes on, he goes, now he's doing projects, or he was doing projects. And, you know, he goes, when he was saying this up, he's not going to be running it day to day, and that's what he's talking about. But he goes, you know, what do you look for in the staffing? And Kobe answered very simply. He goes, you know, they must have, you know, the same hunger as me, the same desire, that feeling that, you know, they're not sure if they can do it, but they want to do it. And it's all that mindset that, you know, that you have to have within your friends.
Right.
When you choose your friends, you have to have the people that you feel comfortable around, that you like, that also want to push themselves to be better.
Right.
And whatever that is.
Right.
And I think that's what I've done for myself with friends. I think that's what you've done with your friends.
Definitely.
Moving through different schools and different phases of your life only makes it more clear.
Absolutely. And, you know, that was a great point to push on. Kobe, RIP to Kobe. But, you know, he set a precedent, right? He wants his surroundings to set a precedent. And for any, you know, middle schoolers out there, high schoolers out there, little guys looking for their friends right now, you know, you will find that pact. It's going to take a while. It's not going to be the first people you meet. It might in some situations, but you want to take your time, and you want to feel people out, get to know them a little bit better, get to know their background a little bit better, and go from there.
Listen, don't get down on yourself if you're not finding the friends that you want to find.
Yeah.
Take your time.
Take your time.
I'm 19 years old, and I've had my three best friends I've now had for a long time. But I can tell you this, I see them not often at all. I mean, my closest friend on this earth, he lives in a different part or a different state than me now. But I mean, I saw him once, two, maybe four times a year.
Yeah.
Because I don't have the time.
Yeah.
When you don't have the time, you don't get to see these guys. Some
But
guys
you know
I see
what? That'll
more, and then
never
other
change though.
no.
You know, like
Like the
that
moment
bond
that
will
I
never
walk
change.
back in there, it's the
Yep.
same.
Same thing.
Nothing changes, and that's what it
It's
is.
true friendship.
It
It's true
is.
friendship. Well, I want to touch on one last point here, and that's habits. So, helping or harming me habits. I would say during quarantine, I really had to adjust my habits. So, coming off of rigorous school, and I had to say to myself, what do I want to prioritize? Do I want to take up reading again? Because I never had time. When I was an athlete in high school, never had time for reading, drawing, anything like that. I love to draw too. I don't know if you knew that. But I love to draw. I love to draw.
I was drawing before I came here.
Really?
Just, my art is having a mindfulness thing.
Oh, see, it is therapeutic. But like, I love to draw. I love to sketch, and I also love to read. And I was like, quarantine's going to be the time when I take up these habits again. And I realized I had to drop some things that were harming me, and I did that because I had the time to. Now, you guys might not have the time in a weekend to sit down and like fully reflect on what's harming or what's helping you. Take it step by step. Take it one at a time. So let's say, for example, you got a big test tomorrow and you're watching Netflix and it's like 11:30. Ask yourself right in that moment, is this helping or harming me for tomorrow? Am I going to be sluggish tomorrow, or can
That's
I?
harming you.
It's harming you, right?
We don't need to keep ask yourself that question. If you're up at 11:30
and you have a big test tomorrow,
and more often than not, you might be in high school, which means you're starting your day at 7 or 8 a.m. Which means you're gonna have to get up at 6 or 7 a.m. That is harming.
Some people can maybe justify it if it's a really good show, but I feel like
Game of Thrones.
I'm a big Game of Thrones.
Listen, if you tell me you're watching Game of Thrones and you're enjoying it, I will let you off the hook, and I might let you get out of the test because I am a big Game of Thrones fan. But if you're gonna say something like Pretty Little Liars, like
no,
we're gonna have to have a little conversation here, and I might give you a harder test.
That's good. That's good. But like in the sense, like I was thinking to myself, because I used to watch Netflix like almost every night before school. Not that late at all. But I took up reading, I took up drawing, and now I try to implement those in my day because I'm like, this really helps me set up for the day. Note taking, coming up with different strategies for school online. Yeah. Really helps structure my time.
Yeah, I mean, my best structure came actually over this past summer. I was telling you before, I would get up at 5 a.m. every single day.
Whew.
And by 5:30, I was in the gym, and I would work out until about 7:30. I would go home, quickly shower, eat for the second time, and then, start my work day at 8 a.m. And I would work from 8 to 1, 8 to 2, and then from 2 to 9.
It's grind.
And then, I'd take a little bit of time off, and then from like 9:30 to 11, I'd be at training. Mm-hmm. And so when I got home, I didn't have the time to be like sit there and be on Netflix every night because you realize it's not as important. You need your sleep. You need to keep grinding.
Yeah.
And I'm not necessarily saying it's the most healthy thing to do what I was doing.
Listen, you need some free time. Like you need some like downtime.
Yeah, and that's what I use for the weekends.
Absolutely.
But being what I said, it was a great time for me to learn about what I needed and what I don't. And now, don't get me wrong, I love to watch an episode of a TV show or movie before I go to bed because that's my downtime. I start my mornings at 8 a.m. most times or 7 a.m. And you're going until 7 or 8 p.m.
You just want that.
It is a long day.
Yeah, it is.
And you don't get a respite because you have training and then you have class, then you have homework, and then you have to do all this other stuff. Mm-hmm. It's a long day. So that hour or two where you just want to switch off, take it.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing I was just going to point out here is like you could be doing something that's good necessarily, but it could be harming you. So, like going to the gym for what, 7 days out of the 7 days.
That's too much.
That's harming you.
Your body needs to rest. Your mind needs to rest.
Absolutely.
Using it as your biggest tool doesn't always mean using it constantly.
Exactly.
Take your time and switch off. Go to sleep. Use it. Eat the right foods.
Yeah.
Listen.
Have some ice cream.
Have some ice cream. Have some candy.
Yeah.
Have a little bit of soda. Go out to a party every once in a while. It's okay.
It's okay.
Nobody's saying it's not.
No.
But just make conscious decisions about helping yourself first.
Yes.
And that's really what it is. I mean, coming from a college athlete, I've gone out a couple of times this year and had gone to a couple of parties with my teammates.
Yeah.
It's been fun. But at the end of the day, do I go out every single weekend?
No.
Never. No. You don't have the time to. You're playing, especially when you're in season like me, you have games, you have training. More often than not, you have homework that needs to be done. You have essays that have to be done, quizzes, tests, classes. Like you don't have the time to do it.
It almost distracts you from the bad stuff. You know what I mean? Like it almost like is like I have an excuse now not to watch Netflix at 11:30 because I have to do this, you know? But I think that's a really good point. And even for non-athletes out there or just people that are not as have an intensive schedule, you know, take that downtime when you have like, you know, respect your body, respect your mind. You know, Calm app, there's always that too. I use that sometimes.
I don't, but I can understand it.
Social media, mindless scroll through a little bit. Like
Yeah.
make sure that that's also helping you, but not to the extent of doing it constantly. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, there's bad
gift
habits
yourself.
and then
Gift
but
yourself.
there's make it as a reward. I
Yeah.
mean, my thing is every time before I go to sleep I try and watch one episode of the TV show. Do I make it through every TV show? Not
Probably
even
dead asleep.
close. The moment it hits 11 p.m.,
Yeah.
I am turning it off and I'm going to sleep. It doesn't mean I fall asleep instantly, no. But I just realized that I have a long day the next day, but I want to take that time where I just mentally switch off from the day and just kind of relax.
Absolutely.
And that for me has been the thing. And I used to love reading, and I still love reading, but I don't really have the time to do it. So now I've transitioned to reading while I travel. So when I'm on bus trips or when I'm
Smart.
taking a plane, like I get to just crack open a book, and for me, more often than not, it's a fiction book that I can just mindlessly read.
Fiction. I like that. I like that. I'm a big I have a couple books that I need to introduce you guys to on Instagram or something like that because I have a few books that like they're business books, but they also are like self-help books. Not self-help, but it's almost like motivational, gritty kind of stuff. But I will post them on my story. But Christian, anything else that you want to leave out here today?
I mean, the resiliency factor is one thing. Resiliency, everybody has. You know, you have that ability to do that extra sprint. You have that ability to get that A. You have that ability to wake up and take on the day. You have it.
Right.
It's all in there for everybody. But do you want to? That's the real question. Do you want to do that? Do you want to push yourself to be the best? I could say for us, we do.
Yeah.
We go out there every day and we do it. Does it work every day? No. Is it going to work every day for you? No. That's where the consistency factor comes in here. Yeah, and I think, you know, to be resilient, you have to be consistent. You have to consistently get up and push yourself because that's a real fact. That's a real secret behind resiliency.
Absolutely.
Life's not pretty in rainbows.
Life's not pretty in rainbows.
I wish it was.
That would be my senior quote nowadays. It's like life's not pretty in rainbows. You get through stuff and it honestly
piles on more.
Yeah. It
yeah, it does.
True.
It does.
That's true. But I will say this. Keep these three in mind. All right? Ready? They get that shit happens. Resilient people are good at choosing where they put attention, and they ask themselves, is what I'm doing, is it helping me or is it harming me? Take those three things with you, put them in your toolbox, and think about one thing this week that you're grateful for. All right, guys? Listen, Christian, it was great to have you on. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks.
You might see this guy again. Who knows? But you know,
a year from now.
Yeah,
I'll make my yearly pop.
Yearly poppin'. But listen, I hope you have a great rest of your season, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. But yeah, keep being resilient, guys. Have a good one.